Hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome to your tarot and oracle card reading for the month of September 2024, or whenever you happen to stumble upon this video. These are recorded for the month ahead in the days before the next month begins, but I feel like they are also very timeless. So whenever you're here is when you're supposed to be here. So I hope you get whatever you need to get from this. So a couple of things to tell you about before we begin. Some really, really exciting things happening over on newagehipster.co. The Library of Light membership has officially launched, and I am so excited about this. This is a library full of courses and workshops that I have created and run previously. There's a whole bunch of my older content that is available there for you to access immediately. We are also going to be adding new content all of the time to that library, including a very special workshop that's coming up this month to help you to navigate through eclipse season. Eclipse season is coming up. I think it begins on the 16th of September, and eclipse season can be a little bit challenging, even for those of us who have been on the path for a long time. We have the tools, we have the practices. It can still feel like you're going through a cosmic washing machine where it's just like brings up all your stuff. So I have created a workshop to help you, to support you through that. And we're going to be doing some like energy healing and activation, especially on the Earth Star and the Soul Star, to help anchor you and anchor your energy so that you can navigate this time in your power, feeling really safe and secure, and like you're ready to actually use eclipse season for its purpose, which is transformation. And that's why it's a hard time, right? Because all your stuff comes up so that you can see what needs transforming, what needs shifting, what needs changing. But we can make it easier by really just grounding ourselves, and not just grounding ourselves into the earth, but we're also going to ground ourselves into the higher realms and into our soul star, so our higher dimensions, higher energies as well. So that's going to be super fun. You get all of that for just $22 US a month, and you can cancel anytime. So you can come just for the workshop for eclipse season, check out some of the other content, or you can come and you can stay and you can be a part of the amazing community and library of content that I will be updating constantly over there. So that's my super big exciting news. In other news, the Spiritual Author Academy is coming up. If you are somebody who wants to write your own spiritual deck or book, then or do the artwork for your own deck, whatever you want to do related to tarot decks, oracle decks, writing spiritual books, we can help you. It is a co-creation with the amazing Tess Whitehurst, who I have just been a fan of hers for like a million years, and Tanya Carol Richardson, who I have been a fan of for a little bit less time, but she is just as incredible, and they're just both amazing authors and amazing people. I'm so honored to be holding that space with them for you if you are interested in that. All of the links will be below. Okay, so let's get stuck into our reading. This month I'm going to be using the Goddesses Among Us Oracle. And no, I didn't choose it just because it matches my outfit, but I realized just then that it did, which is fun. This is a deck that I created with Ellie Grant, and it is one of my favorite decks. And I've created a couple of decks now, but this is one that I use almost every day for myself. I'm always using it for clients. It just has amazing energy. So we're going to use that this month. And I'm also going to be using we're going to go old school, we're going classic with the Rider-Waite Smith. This is the Pamela Coleman Smith Centennial version with the beautiful sort of muted pastel-y colors, which I love. So those are our decks. we'll be pulling an oracle and a tarot card for each of the elements. So we're going to begin with Earth this time round because we are in Virgo season, and we're going to go through the elements. If you're not sure what element you are, the signs will be listed below for the element, and you can watch your sun sign if that's the one you know. If you know your sun, moon, and rising, you can watch all of them. If you know your sun, moon, and rising, but you just want to watch all of the messages for this month, then that's absolutely fine. You can watch them all or take what resonates from each one. So before we begin, let's just take a moment to center our energy and set an intention. So if you're somewhere where you can close your eyes, please do so. If it's not safe for you, then don't. But let's just take a deep breath in together. It's just inhaling into the heart space. Inhale and exhale. And just take a moment here to think about why you are here. Is there a question or a situation or an issue or something in your life at the moment that you need some guidance on? If so, bring that into the space, drop that into your heart space. Maybe your intention is just that you would just like a message of comfort and support, or something to guide you and support you through the month ahead. And I just like to take a moment before we begin to just set the intention that everything that comes through in this reading is in alignment with the best and highest good of all, and so it is. Amen. Satnam. Deep inhale and exhale. And let's begin with our earth signs. Okay, earth signs, let's see what is in the cards for you. And I say this a lot, but if you're new here, these readings are not prophetic. They are not predictions. They're not going to tell you this is going to happen to you. I don't read like that because I know that we have the power to create the month that we want to have, mostly. Okay. I love this. I love this for you, earth signs. Okay, so your tarot card is the Ten of Swords. And I just want to talk about Ten of Swords for a minute, because oftentimes when we see this card in our readings, we freak out and we're like, oh, what the heck? Like, this is not the most uplifting of imagery, right? Like, it's just not. But something I love about this card is that it always feels like it's the end of a very, very difficult cycle. And so for you moving into September, which we have already talked about is eclipse season, this is like the perfect time for something to end and for something else to begin. Now, that could be absolutely anything in your life. I'm picking up two things for you. One thing relates to Fortuna, the goddess of fortune, luck, fate, money, prosperity. This is a beautiful combination because this suggests that if you've been going through a difficult time financially, if things have felt really tough at work, you've been struggling with your purpose maybe as well, anything kind of related to that, work, purpose, cash, money, things happening in the material world, the fact that you've got the Ten of Swords here is like so good. So sometimes we see the Ten of Swords and we're like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to see this in my reading, but it can sometimes be the most positive card to see because it's like the difficulties are coming to an end. Now, part of the message with this, we can pull cards and we can go, oh, cool, the difficult time is going to end and I'm going to move into an energy of more prosperity and more abundance, and that's going to be so good for me and I'm so super stoked about that. But we have to make that happen. We have to make that happen. This shift and all of these things, whatever you see in your cards, whenever you see these messages of like something good is going to happen, or, abundance, or like all the positive cards that we always want to see in our reading, they're not just there like telling you this is definitely 100% going to happen for you. It's like, this is a possibility, this is a potential. And this again is why I don't read for outcomes, because outcomes are really just possibilities and potentials. So we have to make a decision for ourselves. Are you ready to change this? And I'm hearing really, really clearly from the guides, are you ready to change this story? Are you ready to turn things around for yourself? If the answer is yes, then yay, like that's amazing. And there's some really beautiful possibilities and potential here for you this month to really make some shifts. But before you make the shifts, I'm hearing as well that some of your stuff's going to have to come up. You're going to have to look at where you're overspending, where you're spending money on stuff that you don't need, where you are caught up in a cycle of like materialism and believing that you need physical items to be happy. All of your stuff's going to come up, right? And I remember the first time that I did this practice where you write down, like I went through a phase where I read like all the money books, right? All the spiritual money books. And there's this practice where you write down, and this isn't just a spiritual practice. This is like a practice generally for, if you want to improve your money situation. And you take a month and you write down in the month every single penny or cent that you spend. And you come back at the end of the month and you look at it. You really look at it. And I was shocked and amazed when I did this for the first time, because it was so eye-opening. It was so eye-opening. And these things that we do on the spiritual path that really open our eyes to the truth of not just the spiritual truths, but the truths of our actions and who we are and what we're putting out into the world and how our actions are affecting others or ourselves. This can be confronting. This can be really difficult. And this is why most people don't do it. Most people are never going to spend a month just writing down every single thing that they buy and all of the money that goes out, because it's hard. It's not hard to literally just type it into your app or write it on a piece of paper or keep a spreadsheet or whatever. That's not so hard. What's hard about it is seeing the truth. And so you're being called here this month to really look at your financial situation. I'm saying financial situation a lot, but it can also be like your work situation, your purpose work situation, your home life, where you're living, anything relating to the material world. So that's a really big message and really exciting, actually. It's like, if you are ready for this journey, if you're ready to change the story, then you're going to go through some discomfort potentially, seeing the truths of like why things are how they are right now. And then you're going to make some changes and you're going to come out on the other side ready to make those changes in your life and ready to change the story. Now, I said that this felt like it was about two things, the endings, and one of those things was very much about the material, physical, financial situation that you're in. The other thing that I'm picking up for you, or for some of you perhaps, is around your spiritual path and your spiritual progress. And for some of you, there's going to be some really big, profound, spiritual, energetic shifts during this month. And that will go along really nicely with the material shifts, because we're always working with both. We're always working with both, and it can be really difficult to only work with one. When we just focus on making our material world amazing, then we can kind of lose touch with the spiritual side. When we're just so focused on the spiritual, we can kind of lose touch with the material, and we can end up in, situations that don't feel very high vibe, even though we're doing all the spiritual work. So this is about both of those things, looking at what's happening with your spiritual practices. Your spiritual beliefs may even be shifting and changing this month as well. It feels like it's a really, really big, potent month for you, potentially, but really exciting. And really, this can be this can be a month where things really shift for you, where things really start to change and shift. Okay, if you want to know more, you can book in for a reading with me. All of the links are below on how you can do that. And I am just sending you so much love as you move into this month ahead. Lots of love. Okay, my fellow air signs, let's see what is up for us for this month. Let's see. Okay, we'd like a card, please. Thank you. That one flew right out eventually. Okay, and we will choose our tarot card. Got it. Oh, okay. A really nice card here for us, air signs. Okay, so our tarot is the Six of Wands, one of my favorite cards to see in a tarot reading for myself or for clients. This is the card of victory. This is the card that tells you that everything is basically going to be okay. And I think this is a message that some air signs really needed right now. Everything's going to be okay. We've just been through Mercury retrograde, which is, I don't want to say like it's always a challenging time, because it doesn't always have to be a challenging time. And I think a lot of you, especially if you've been following me for a while, you know I've been talking about Mercury retrograde for years and years now, about how we can spin it to be like a really positive and powerful thing. But if it's been tough for you, that's okay too. You know, it doesn't, just because we're in our power with it doesn't mean that it's going to be like the easiest thing all the time. But I feel like you're really kind of coming into a space of like something's shifted during Mercury retrograde. Like you got some deeper insights. You had some realizations, you did the reflecting that, you know, we're all supposed to do during Mercury retrograde, and you're coming out the other side. And the phrase that I'm hearing for you is that you're coming into your own. You're coming into your own this month. There is something like really beautiful about the energy this month for you, where you're just like, you're making decisions about who you want to be and how you want to be seen and how you want to be received. And you're just like, you're just going to do it. Like there's something it's just like, you're just going to do it. If you have something that has been on your heart or your mind that is like, a project that you want to put out into the world, or you've been thinking about putting out into the world, if there is like a project that you want to work on, whether you want to write a book, Spiritual Author Academy, or whether you want to just like get back into some creative thing that you were into at some point, whether you want to change your career, that could be coming up. I'm feeling a lot of energy around learning something new, shifting into a new energy. It just feels like a new energy, and it feels so, so good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for myself. I'm loving this. I'm just loving this message so much. It just feels good. Like the energy just feels good. And it's like, coming into your own. That's the message. But then the question for you is, what does that mean for you? What does that look like for you? Where in your life are you not doing the things? I'm hearing really clearly, like, where in your life are you not using or working with your skills and your talents? So you have some skills and talents that maybe they're dormant. Maybe you don't even know that they're there. Maybe you need to like do some deep diving into like, what even are my skills and my talents? But there is this like re-energization, like this passion that's kind of coming through of like, what are you really good at and why aren't you doing it? What are you really passionate about and why aren't you doing it? If you are doing it, then great, keep going. But if you're not doing it, if you're passionate about something, but you're not using that skill, using that talent to create or to help others or to do something in the world, whether it is for others or just for yourself as well, right? Like maybe you want to write a book, but You're not doing it for the world. You just want to do it for yourself, to just be like, I wrote my book. That's all good too. But your skills and your talents, like, pay attention to what those are. So many of us in the modern world, we get caught up in the 9 to 5, the day to day, doing all the stuff for everybody else. And we totally like put aside our passions. We have like these talents and these skills that we have just like totally forgotten about. One example from my life, maybe I'll even link this into the into the video this month. But one of mine is like, I went to theater school. Like, I went to theater school, to music theater school. I did music theater all day, every day for years and years of my life. And then like life happened, right? Then I had to get a job, and then I had to like, pay the rent and all of that stuff. And so, and then I started my own business and I went down this other path. But there's still that, like, I still have those skills and that talent. And what I did really recently, this is like, many, many years later, is I just recently like started a band, and our first single is out on Spotify, and it's like, it's fun and it's exciting, and it's like, we've had like 50 people listen to it, but it doesn't matter, because it's like it's still your purpose work. I think that's a really important message too, coming through for air signs or anyone watching this part of the video. Your purpose work isn't just supposed to be something that's like this super amazing, like massive big hit, and like you're famous, rich and famous from it, and it's like, you're recognized from it. This is a card of recognition. It's also just something that's within you that just has to come out. Like, you put your song on Spotify and you have 50 people listen to it. That's still the 6 of Wands energy. That is a victory. So I talked a lot about your tarot card because it was so exciting. Now, Vesta is coming through as our oracle card, altars, sacred space, and home. And just as I'm turning this card over, I'm looking around at this room. And you can probably see like in the background, like a stack of books, and like it's just a mess, but you can't see the other side of the room that's like way worse than that pile over there. I've been feeling the call to tidy, to spring clean. We're getting into spring here in Southern Hemisphere, but if you are going into autumn, it can still be a really powerful time to clear away and prepare for the new season. So decluttering, clearing energy, clearing space, making your home cozy. If you're moving into autumn, you're going to want to cozy it up and make it all beautiful and cozy and get those blankets out. If you're moving into spring, you want to just open those windows and start to shift the energy. But tidying your space, like, it's a spiritual practice. Tidying up is a spiritual practice, and I am so resistant to that. So if you're resistant to it too, then you're in good company, but I know it's true. So I'm going to be doing that a little bit this month too, doing some space clearing, which includes clearing physical clutter, putting things away, all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to do it. So you should do it too. You'll feel amazing. Your energy, your space, everything will feel so much better. Okay, air signs, I hope that reading resonated with you. If you would like more, if you would like a personal reading this month, you can hook one up via the links below, and I am sending you so much love, wishing you an amazing month ahead. Okay, water signs. So I always pay a little bit extra attention to the water signs message. Although I always, whenever I do these readings, I feel like there's stuff that comes through. All of the cards feel like they're for me. So if you want to go and listen to all of them, do it. Okay, so water signs. I'm a Pisces rising, so this is for me too. Ooh, okay. All right. Let's begin with, where should we begin? We have 2 really interesting cards. Okay, let's begin with the Oracle card, the Black Madonna. This is one of my favorite cards from this deck. It is just, I'm going to try and like give you like a really good look of it because it is just stunning. The Black Madonna, Cosmic Mother, the beginning, the void. This is our Oracle card. So, okay. So as we move into this month, / whenever you're watching this video, we are in a cycle moving into eclipse season, if that's when you're watching this. Eclipse season is a time where things are shifting and transforming, and as I said at the beginning, it can be uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable. What I'm feeling for the water signs is it's really important that you look after yourself this month. It's really, really important that you look after yourself. It's like you are going into the cocoon phase. Like you're going into the cocoon this month, and that's totally okay. And if you want to go into the cocoon for like the whole of eclipse season and just say, you know what, Vix, I'm just gonna get my cozy blanket, my doona, as we call it in Australia, or your duvet, or whatever you call it where you live. I'm just gonna get my cosmic duvet. I'm just gonna wrap myself up in it, and I'm just gonna wait it out. And then I'm going to come out the other side. So there's different things you can do with eclipse season, right? You can either do all of the work. You can start to look at what's coming up, and you can analyze everything, psychoanalyze yourself, do your journaling, do your tarot spreads. You can really pay attention and notice and be like, oh, okay, like this old pattern's repeating again. This is coming up. You can really watch for all of these things and pay really close attention, get really conscious about it all, and then start to make changes, right? Like you can see your patterns, and you can be like, okay, I'm going to change this, I'm going to do this instead. You can do all of that stuff, but you can also just let it happen. And so I feel like for some of you watching this message for the water signs, for some of you, this is going to be a time where you just need to let things happen. You don't always need to analyze everything or question everything or like figure everything out. So I'm a Pisces rising, but I'm a Gemini sun. So, you know, I like to try to figure things out. I like to overanalyze everything. But I think that this is a time for water signs to really just like go within and just kind of go deep into yourself and just let things happen. You don't need to always know. You don't need to always know. I think this is really, really an important message for like anything in the spiritual path, anything that kind of comes up, because we're so focused on that, right? Like we're so focused on, I've got to figure this out, you know, like I've got to figure out why this pattern is repeating. I got to clear it. I got to cut cords. I got to do all these things. And all of those tools are fantastic. But sometimes we can just let things happen. This is one of the things that I love about the Kundalini yoga technology. And they call it a technology because we get all these mudras and these mantras and these movements that we do. And the idea is that they just shift and clear energy. And you don't have to know what you're shifting and clearing. You just do the practice and you just trust that whatever needs to be shifted or cleared will be shifted or cleared. And I think that's exactly what is happening for you this month. Go deep into self-care practices, self-love practices, ground your energy, get outside in nature. I know you might just want to hide under your doona for the whole season, but getting outside in nature is going to be so healing. I feel like there's a lot coming up for you around healing, that feels really, really important that you just focus on your own healing journey. And we talk about like healing journey all the time in spirituality, and people are like, what even is this? It can be like anything and everything, your healing journey. But right now, you just need to let the healing happen. You just need to let it in. Like, let your guides in, let them work on you, let them heal you, let them guide you. But yeah, just lots of messages there about like not over analyzing, just letting it happen, just letting it unfold. And then it's really interesting because you have this King of Wands. Like, that felt like such a watery energy, right? Like such a watery message. And then we have the King of Wands, which is like all about fire. What I'm feeling for this, though, we've just talked about don't do anything, just let it happen. But now there's this other message that's like, yeah, that's good advice. Like, do that. But if there are things that come up, or if there's things that you know going into this season that you want cleared and you want released, do a burning ritual. Burning rituals are my favorite. They take like 10 seconds and they can change your whole life. I have shifted and cleared so much stuff doing a burning ceremony, a burning ritual. You got to be careful when you're working with fire. Please don't burn your house down and then blame me on it. It's really, really simple. And the way that I do it, you can do like a big elaborate burning ritual. That's totally fine. But you can also just do like a really basic, sometimes I'll be sitting at my altar and I'll just be in meditation and I'll just have this like feeling of like, oh, I'm still carrying that around. Or, just something will come up that will be like, just annoying me. I'll be like, oh, I'm still thinking about this situation from like last month or from like 5 years ago. Suddenly I'm thinking about that, or I'm thinking about that person I thought the cord was cut. And then when I come out of meditation or, whatever, sometimes I'm pulling cards and I see these things. Then I come out of it and then I just write down on a piece of paper. I use like a Post-it note for this. Like, this is how, how fancy and technical it is. I use a Post-it note or a little scrap of paper and I just write down the thing that I want to clear, whatever it is, the thing that I want to release, whatever it is. Old relationship with this person. Don't want, lack consciousness, like whatever it is that's kind of coming up for you. Stuck energy. You don't even have to give it like a specific name. You can just give it like this stuck energy or this like discomfort that I'm feeling or whatever it is. You write it down, you hold it over a candle. It's the best way to, I like holding it over a candle. Hold it because I usually have candles lit. So you hold it over a candle, you let it go up in flames. And I always just I have like a cauldron, but you can make like a dish or, something heat proof. Please be careful with fire. I'm saying this a lot because we've just finished our basic witch course, which is going to run again next year, by the way, if you'd still like to do it. But we talked a lot about, we shared some of our disasters that we'd had doing candle magic, and you got to be careful with fire. Okay, so then you take your piece of paper, and this is the way I do it. I hold it in the flame and then I drop it into the cauldron and I just watch it burn. I just watch it burn. You have to watch it burn. And you have to, when you're doing it, you watch it burn and you know that it is gone. Your intention is there for it to be cleared, and it will be cleared. So this month for you, a lot of just looking after yourself and some burning away of anything that comes up, just burn it away. And if you don't have a candle or a Post-it note on you and something's coming up, you know what you can do? You can visualize that you're doing the ritual. You can visualize that you're writing it down and that it's burning in a sacred flame. You can call on the violet flame. You can call on angels to do it for you. I like the physical, doing it in the physical way. That works really well for me. But if you don't have the stuff, you don't need the stuff. You can visualize, you can do all of these things. Oh, okay, water signs, I really hope this serves and supports you through this next season and cycle. If you would like to get a personalized reading with me, the links are below on how you can do that. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and I'm sending you so much love. Okay, fire signs, you are lucky last today. Let's see what your messages are. Had a sneaky peek at what was on the bottom of the... No, it's not the same one. Okay. Sometimes when you see a card, whether you sneaky peek on the bottom of the deck or one flies out and you put it back in, it's always like extra powerful when you pull it, but it wasn't the right card for us. Okay, so this is really interesting because there's some similarities here between your cards, your messages, and the water sign messages. So if you feel called, if you haven't already watched the water sign message, you may like to have a look at that as well, because there may be some things, there's a little bit of a crossover there. Okay, so you have two really beautiful cards, and they're both very heart-centered, and they're both very watery, which is really interesting for the fire signs. So you have the Queen of Cups as your tarot card. I just love the Queen of Cups. She's one of my favorites in the deck. She's heart-centered, she's intuitive, and she's very, very grounded, even though sometimes, we don't think about the watery kind of energy as being grounded, but she feels very grounded in this moment. When we read tarot, you may turn over the Queen of Cups and be like, oh, she's totally ungrounded. But in this moment here, I feel like she's really grounded. She's grounded in her intuition because she trusts herself, and she knows who she is. And so then we have Aphrodite, romance, beauty, and self-love. These two messages are coming through. So as I'm starting to tune in more and more to the messages here, I'm realizing that actually they're pretty different from the from the water signs message, but some similarities. It's definitely some watery energy here. But I'm really feeling like this is a fantastic month for you to really focus on self-love, self-esteem, trusting yourself, believing in yourself, having more confidence in yourself, all of that kind of stuff. That is just like this flashing energy message that's coming through. It's just like, love yourself, believe in yourself, be true to yourself, like all of these kinds of things, all of these kinds of statements and energies, right? This is what this month is all about for you. And so as we move into eclipse season, this is a really good time for you to think about where you're not in those energies, where you're not trusting yourself, where you're not loving yourself, where you're not being kind to yourself, and looking at some of the patterns and looking at some of the stories, the old stories. I love eclipse season for looking at the stories I tell myself. And we tell ourselves all sorts of crazy stories. We really, really do. We tell ourselves all sorts of nutty stuff. And sometimes it's big stuff, I don't deserve love. I don't deserve to be rich. I don't deserve to be happy. We tell ourselves all of that kind of random stuff. But sometimes there's these smaller stories that we tell ourselves too, I'm trying to think of some of the ones that have kind of come up for me lately, but it's just, little things like I'm not the kind of person that will do X, Y, Z, I used to be, so when I was young, I was really into dancing, and I was really active and fit. And then I kind of went through a phase where I wasn't so much. And then, I was telling myself a lot of stories in that time of oh, I'm too old. This is just how I am. And I'm never going to be fit again. That's just me. I don't do exercise, I'm not the sort of person that wow, when we start to really look deeper into those kind of phrases that we say out loud, sometimes we say them out loud, we don't even realize that we think it. And then we say to somebody oh yeah, I'm not the sort of person that would do that. It's interesting because then we can go, oh, hang on a second, why do I believe that about myself? Maybe it's true. Sometimes, we say these things and it's yeah, it is true. But sometimes it's not true. I never thought I was going to be somebody who'd run my own business. I had plenty of stories about myself that would be I'm not someone that could do that. I'm not very driven. I'm not very ambitious. I'm not very all the things that you need to do to run a business. And then, you start to analyze those and you go, where did that come from? Who told me that about myself? So many of the things that we believe about ourselves are just things that somebody else told us. When I was a teacher, I used to absolutely lose it and get so furious because I would see teachers all day long telling kids who they were. And it just like, it really infuriated me, like, you're the good student. You always pay attention and you're going to go far in life. You're the naughty kid. You're the class clown. Like, kids are just getting labeled like all of the time. And, it's amazing. It's amazing. And like, how much of that do we take on? We still take it on when we're older. People can still tell us things about ourselves that we're like, oh, is that true? Even sometimes when you look at your astrology or you get an astrology chart done or something like that, we can look at that and we can go, oh, okay, my astrology tells me I'm this kind of person, so I must be that kind of person. Well, you can change your astrology. You can change it. You absolutely can. You can change anything about yourself if you decide that you want to. That doesn't mean your physical chart will change, but you can look at like the positives of the sign and you can work with the positive parts of that rather than the negative parts. Like, I'm a Gemini sun. And people will always say, Gemini suns are like so flighty and they can't stick to anything and they can't they're always like doing a million things at once. Some of that's a little bit true for me, but I changed that story of like, I can't stick to anything. I've written 3 oracle decks, 3 spiritual books, 3 novels. I've actually written 4, nearly 5 novels, but some of them aren't out in the world yet. I changed the story. You can change your stories. That's one of the biggest messages that's coming up for you this month, fire signs. You can change your story. Really start to get curious about what stories you have taken on, what stories you're telling yourself about yourself, and change them if you want to. If you feel called to change them, change them. You have the power. You have the power. So this can be a really powerful, exciting month for you. Changing your stories, more self-love, more self-worth, more self-confidence. It feels really, really empowering. Actually, we have like these 2 kind of like watery, trust your intuition kind of cards, but it actually feels fiery. There's a fire in that. There's an empowerment in this that feels like, it's fire with water. It's fire with water, but there's also the grounded energy here. It's like a total balance for you that you have available to you this month or whenever you're watching this video. Okay, beautiful fire signs. I hope this reading has served and supported you in some way. If you would like to work with me and get a personal reading with me, you can hook that up by checking out the links below. And I am just sending you so much love and wishing you an amazing month ahead. Lots of love.